Thanks so much to Roger and Dr. Pimenta for putting on such a great course. And I can't believe it's been 19 years. That's crazy. Time flies, huh? So I'm going to talk about robotics and kind of what I've done in the last year. And for me, it's interesting when I look back when I finished residency in 2008, 2007, 2008. I did my training at the University of Virginia, where it's kind of very old school, John Jane, and he wanted you to master, every surgery in neurosurgery, cranial, and I was intrigued by spine because I was like, this is so cool. You have to get all these pedicle screws in, and if you miss, you could, it was just like high stakes. And it was so exciting at the time. And, we didn't have all this technology, all the endoscopy and all the, fun stuff that we're talking about today. But as I get older, I'm more like the Buddha statue, right? I don't want drama. I want, smooth cases. As much as I love doing deformity, tumor, trauma, it's like, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm getting older, but the cognitive load and the stress, I just don't want it in my life. And so I think over the last year, I kind of have evolved to trying to really incorporate technology and robotics into my practice. And ironically, I grew up in Seattle, and I went to school in this town, and there was this little company called Microsoft that was a startup, and all the parents, we kept getting kids that would move in, and then I had all these kids. I was the only one that went to med school, and all my buddies and high school friends all started tech companies, and so technology, I remember like they would steal MS-DOS. I remember when Windows came out, it was such a big deal. We had Pine email. It was exciting. Like you'd be in class and you'd send an email like 2 hours later, one of your friends would respond. And so when you look at medicine and surgery and what we do, like for example in spine, it blows my mind. Here, we have to take all these x-rays, position, we have to do all these things. And, and then being a neurosurgeon, I didn't know anything about the pelvis, the hip, what the hell is a Judet view? I mean, all these things you kind of learn, and again, in my training, we got exposed to it, but and as the technology's advanced, you go from fluoroscopy base, which is here, and what always frustrated me was like, I would get so annoyed. Okay, I wanted to put a screw in this corner in this direction, and it just never would come out that way. And so, for me, robotics kind of has that, right? So you can do some planning. You can get away from the fluoro. My cognitive stress, my cognitive load potentially could go down. So these were all really intriguing to me. But I was like, oh, man, I got to get, like, the draping and, we have fellows. It's going to take my cases forever. Like, all this mental anguish you go through. Like, the staff have to learn. And then, the nurses always do what nurses do. They fight like hell anytime you bring something in, they want to do it their way, and so they don't like the reps. They don't want to have a rep in the room all the time. So you deal with all this. I'm like, okay, is it worth it to go through this cognitive stress and psychological, and so over the last year we've kind of done that. But again, these are the kind of patients that are in my clinic that you'll see. So I think obviously robotics, surgical selection and the things that I see now, it always worries me because I'm like, gosh, if you have a robot, a bad surgery is still a bad surgery, like this case here, right? You can place the screws perfectly, but you end up with a shitty result and a bad outcome. And so my hope is, and I think being in Seattle and technology, I do think that these technologies are going to make indications tighter, there's going to be a lot more scrutiny over what people do. And again, when you think of all the great minds and the athletes and everything, there's one Michael Jordan, there's one Tiger Woods. As surgeons, we're all kind of different. We all have different skills. I'm good at certain things. Other people are good at others. So can technology equalize that? I think it can. Again, in my experience, it's kind of like what Steve Jobs did with Apple. People thought he was a weird guy. They never understood him. But really, it was always about the operating system, right? And that's what everyone here is doing. If you look at all the debates and everything, everybody's trying to classify everything and coming up with a way, okay, how do you do this case and how do you, do it in such a way that's repeatable and the patients have a good outcome? And technology kind of does that for you, right? So, and it's going to get more and more sophisticated. You're going to have pre-op planning, segmental tracking, AI, and I started, with doing 1 or 2 level cases, and now I'm doing, multi-level cases. And so I do think, again, if you're going to adapt any technology, whether it's endoscopic, tubular, whatever it is that you're going to do, always you want to start with something easy, straightforward. And so for robotics, I think doing a degenerative case is a way to go. And then this is an intraoperative view. I still will get one floor shot at the end just to double check and make sure that the screws are placed. Occasionally you'll see one or two, things that you're like, well, it didn't really line up. And so sometimes you have to get a CT scan. But you can see, intraoperatively, for me now, when I do these cases like bigger deformities, the screw placement's a slam dunk. I'm very relaxed. Normally I'd be sweating. I have to go change my scrubs. I scrub out and I'm like telling the fellow, irrigate, I have 4 more hours to go. You're looking at the clock. So I think there's a role, and it's for cases like this. This is a patient who had a Charcot spine infection. The anatomy is really altered. Poor healing, poor everything. So what if you could do a case with really difficult 3D anatomy with a robot, and you can place the screws, it's minimal tissue disruption. And again, what's crazy is I planned the surgery, and this is what I planned, and this is what it looked like. Obviously, I had to do the corpectomy and do the laminectomy and realignment, but this is pretty incredible if you think about it, right? And again, I don't want to focus too much on this, but I think with social media, technology, and I think as my life, and maybe it is I'm getting older, but I just don't like being stressed out. I want to have more control over stuff. And I feel like that's one thing people don't talk a lot about with robotics or technology, is it takes the stress factor out. Again, you can get it, this is another deformity case where, again, on the convexity, concavity, the cord's going to be right there, right? So you have no room for error. There's going to be atrophic pedicles. How are you going to, what's your plan? What's the alignment going to look like afterwards? Here's a CT myelogram. And these are tough cases, I can tell you, like, even as an experienced surgeon, there's going to be 1 or 2 screws you're going to be like, shit, I can't get this in. It's very frustrating. And, if you look on a CT on axial, sagittal, you can see, like, this patient has no pedicles, and you can see on one side the cord's completely draped over it. So, and here's a 3D reconstruction, and as much as I love all the beautiful AR, VR, everything that goes on, it stresses me out when I look at something like this. I'm like, holy cow, this is worse than what I thought it was. It was better that I saw it in 2D, It's kind of like when we're doing lateral, I'm like, I don't want to see the plexus, I just want to know I'm staying away from it. And so I think, again, like in my practice over the last year, I'm really excited. these cases, here's the end result on this case. I think between AI and, all the stuff, all the different things that are happening in technology, I think robotics is going to get better and better and better. And I think, Chris and I work together in Seattle. I think, he uses it. I think everyone is using, whether you're a tube guy or endoscopic guy, I think adapting and bringing new technology in and do it slowly and get your team involved. It's actually fun. I mean, now when I plan these cases, usually I have our fellow plan it and then I tinker with it a little bit, but it's kind of cool. And then you can look and see what the plan is and then compared to what you ended up doing. So it's exciting, and thanks for having me out.